नमस्कार। श्री Ramakrishna Kathamrita. तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदादतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। श्री रामकृष्ण कथामृतो प्रथम भाग चतुर्थ खंडो चतुर्थ परिच्छेद. First of all, my apologies. I am a bit not well last few days, so today's reading I might not be that vocal, that loud, so please bear with whatever quality of sound you can get in today's video. And in this fourth chapter we have seen Sri Ramakrishna talking about Kamini Kanchon Jonyo Dashatvo, the slavery one gets into for the sake of lust and greed, to fulfill these desires. And as Sri Ramakrishna had told, Sri Ramakrishna had asked Vijay at the starting of this chapter that how come earlier you used to visit so frequently, you used to come so often? Ekhon asha na keno? Why don't you visit? Now why don't you come so frequently as you used to earlier? And Vijay said that ekhane ashbar khub ichha. In fact, I wish to come here. I have such a great desire to visit you frequently and spend time with you, to talk to you, to listen to your words. Kintu ami shadhin noi. Now I am not free to do whatever I feel to do. ব্রাহ্ম সমাজের কাজ স্বীকার করেছি. Now I have taken up a salaried job at Brahmo Samaj. Now he is a salaried preacher. So whatever timings he has been given by the Brahmo Samaj, those timings as it is, he cannot come and visit Dakshineshwar and spend time with Sri Ramakrishna. And in response to that, Sri Ramakrishna had said, Sadhinta chole joy. Once you get, take up such kind of jobs for the sake of your family, for the sake of leading this worldly life. When you take up a job, when you start working for somebody, then you lose your freedom. Then there is no free will. And then তোমার মনের মতো কাজ করতে পারো না. Then you can't do the works as desired by your inner mind. Supposing I decide, okay, tomorrow, next week I will go to Calcutta, I will go to spend time in Jairambati, I will spend time in Kamarpukur, but that is not possible. Although you have great wish, although I have a great wish to take it up, but then there are certain commitments of the office, commitments of the household work, commitments of other duties, and because one gets tied up with all these things, and then one cannot. And now in today's reading, continuing further on this, Sri Ramakrishna gives a very wonderful story of some monks who were at the priests of the Govindji's temple at Jaipur. Sri Ramakrishna is telling the story now. Jaipure Govindjir pujarira prothom bibaha kore noy. The priests of the Govindji temple in the earlier days, old days, they never married. তখন খুব তেজস্বী ছিল. And that time they had such a great spiritual and mental powers. They were illumined souls for that matter. For them, The entire day was spent nothing but contemplating on, serving, worshipping that Govindji. রাজা একবার ডেকে পাঠিয়েছিলেন, তা তারা যায় নাই. Once the king of that place, he once sent for them. You priests, can you come to my palace? I've got some work. These priests, they didn't go. They refused to go to him. তারা জয় নয়, বলছিল রাজাকে আসতে বলো. That was their power, that was their uh, not exactly arrogance, but kind of the illumination that they had got while serving Govindji. That they felt, for us, God is the only thing. Who is this king? After all, he is a man. He is not like our Govindji. So they said, ask king to come here to us. We are serving Govindji. For us, Govindji is all. Lord Krishna is all and all. Who is this king? তারপর রাজাও 5 জনে তাদের বিয়ে দিয়ে দিলেন. And then what happened? When the king came to know that these people, they are so illumined, they are so enlightened that they consider king to be nothing. For them, Govindji is the only thing. Lord Krishna is the only thing. So what happened? After consulting, he just spoke to his ministers and all. How can we bring their level? They are at such a high level. How can we bring them down? And then what happened? তাদের বিয়ে দিয়ে দিলেন. And he arranged to get those priests. He somehow arranged to get them married. তখন রাজার সঙ্গে দেখা কারবার জন্য আর কাহারও ডাকতে হলো না. And the moment the king, somehow he convinced through his ministers and all these illumined souls, you get married. And Maya's, Leela, the divine play of the Maya, the delusional play of the Maya started. These priests got married, and then they were never, there was no need for king to call them to his palace. Earlier, when he had called them, they had refused to come, saying, no, who is this king? Let the king come here. That was their might, that was their power. But the moment king got them married, everything changed. Now king didn't have to send an invitation to them to come to his palace. On their own, they started visiting the king. What for? Ar kaharo dakte holo na. There was no need to call for them then after their marriage. Nije giye upasthit. On their own, they used to go and present themselves before the king. Maharaj, আশীর্বাদ করতে এসেছি, এই নির্মাল্য এনেছি, ধারণ করুন. And then of their own, these priests, they started visiting. They would come to him of their own wish. There was no invitation required, no requests were to be made by the king. Oh priests, please come to my place. No, on their own. And then they would come to him and say, here, I have come to shower my blessings on you, king. I have come to grace you with the blessings. Now here, take this sacred flowers, take this prasada, and please accept this sacred, the nirmalya, the flowers and the holy water that is offered to the Lord. And at the end of the worship, these flowers and this water is collected separately, and then these are distributed to the devotees as nirmalya, as the purest of the pure token of gift. mm, from the worship of God. So that is the priests you started coming to king's palace on their own. Take this Nirmalya, they used to offer him flower, and then the Charanamrita also maybe sometimes that okay, take this holy water with which we have conducted the puja of Govindji, and we have come to bless you. Then কাজে কাজেই আসতে হয়ে আজ ঘোর তুলতে হবে আজ ছেলের অন্নপ্রাশন আজ হাতে খড়ি এইসব and then they used to tell them they had to go to the king for everything. If they had to build a house, they used to go to king. And because what happens when these holy men, when these priests, they come to the king with these kind of offerings to the Lord being shared with him, naturally king will give something to them. He will make them monetarily satisfied, and then every now and then these people, for anything they wanted, they started going to king. That whatever work they had at home, supposing somebody wanted to buy a cow, suddenly he will go to king and here is the Nirmalya, here are the holy flowers, please take them, my blessings to you. And then king would take out or maybe ask his minister or somebody, give him 10 rupees, give him some money, give him some gold mohors, and then that fellow used to go back, buy his cow or whatever he wanted. So whether it was for any work, for anything to be got, they used to visit king. Aje ghor tulte hobe. Somebody wants to construct a house, build a house, that fellow will rush to the king. Aaj ছেলের অন্নপ্রাশন. Today is the first solid food eating ceremony of my son. So I need to feed people. I need to invite other Brahmins. I need to invite the guests, feed them. For that I need money. So the fellow will go to king. Here is the Nirmalya. Here are my blessings to you. And king would satisfy him by giving him some money. Aaj hate khudi. Today that I have to send my child to the school. So that needs money. Now for all these things, the moment these priests, they got married, they had children, and their uh, the insistence of kings coming to their place rather than they going to king, it all vanished. All that power they had, all that charm they had, by constantly contemplating, worshipping Govindji, everything vanished the moment king got them married. That's it. So that is the example Sri Ramakrishna has given, that how a person loses his freedom if he starts getting into uh, thinking about more of enjoying the worldly enjoyments of lust and greed. So that is one example, and we will stop our reading here today. We will continue with this chapter, and Sri Ramakrishna is going to give another example of highly, illumined monks, of how they also got, downgraded for that matter from their spiritual ideal, from their freedom of being illumined monks, illumined souls, how they got downgraded from that level. So that we will read in our next reading tomorrow. As of now, Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.